WDBE and W225BD, Statesville.
Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm.
If you don't know our host, David Hamm, he's a 25-year NASCAR veteran, engine builder, and jackman.
Live every Monday evening, we have a new guest
From the racing world with their stories, their paths,
their racing
roots. Now here's our host, David Hamm.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm. We got a great show for you this evening. If y'all haven't tuned into the show before, it's our show is every Monday evening at 7 o'clock. We have a new guest from the racing world tell us their stories, their paths, their racing roots. And first of all, I got my wife over here, my lovely wife Tracy, in with us this evening.
Lovely.
Yes. You like that?
Upgraded, huh?
Yep, great, right.
About time.
My ugly wife Tracy. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know, right? And then we got, of course, we got Bryson Davis here.
How's it going?
The young Bryson, as I call him.
Yeah, good to be here.
With your nice North Wilkesboro hat on. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. If y'all are listening on the radio and you'd like to see us here live in the Randy Marion studio, go to DHammiam on YouTube because you're in for a treat. We got our guest this evening, Brad Barrett.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good, Brad. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Been a long day. Just
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. It was a pretty day to be out, especially if you work outside or if you're outside at all. It was a beautiful day.
It was. I was out, and I'm an outside salesman now, but I was out and I was thinking, man, it'd be nice to be on the motorcycle today.
Oh yeah, today would have been a perfect day for it. It's a little windy,
Except for
I guess.
the pollen.
Yeah, well, it just
my
blows
car's
right
got
past.
pollen all over it.
Yeah. Well, you can go home and wash it
Yeah.
in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll wash it at 10 o'clock tonight. I bet your neighbors would love that.
She might actually have to pay somebody to wash the car, which she hates to do.
Yeah, I don't like washing the cars either.
I don't
It's
either.
not that I hate to do it. I hate to pay somebody to do it.
Oh,
That's the
I'd rather pay.
problem.
I'll pay for it.
I've done that maybe twice.
yeah. There's places. There's a new place in Statesville actually. You can do that.
Yeah, you have to do it yourself. All it does is run you through, and then you have to clean it the rest of the way.
Oh, okay. Well.
That's how that works.
not a
That's
bad
why it's so cost effective.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll go. No, never. I ain't gonna say a word about that.
Yeah.
'Cause anyway, yes. Do you work for Vanguard? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Vanguard. It's the truck center in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're a Volvo big truck dealer.
Okay.
I work in the parts department on the outside. Salesman. I have like 50 customers I take care of.
All right. My dad loved the Volvo truck.
They're good trucks. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all good trucks, but Volvo kind of gears more to driver comfort.
Okay. Now, are you talking the big rig trucks or the vans and stuff? Okay. Yeah, because that's what he drove. He drove like Mack years ago, and they went into doing driving the Volvos eventually.
Volvo owns Mack now, so.
Oh, is that
that's
how
all-
that works?
Yeah, it's all kind of the same.
Okay. Well, that explains it. See, I'm glad you told me that because now I know. And I always talk about my dad and the Mack trucks and all, and then the Volvo, so it makes it a little better.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. All right. So you're we're going to start from the beginning.
Thank you.
Actually, start from the
He
beginning
was
this
getting
week.
the eye. That's why he
Yes.
started, because he was getting the eye.
That's my reminder over there. She's reminding me that we need to
I
start.
got the evil eye.
So go ahead, Tracy. Throw it
Go
out
ahead.
there.
So tell us how you got your start from the very beginning.
Well, we can go way back.
Yeah,
I mean,
way back.
When I first started racing, Concord Motor Speedway dirt track,
And how old were you?
13.
Okay.
Actually,
no license.
No, I wasn't driving actually, but I was a normal 12, 13-year-old. My brother and I, we had a go-kart, and of course, we raced around the yard and run into trees and bend it up. And our neighbor raced at Concord, so we'd take the go-kart over there, and he'd always weld it, or he'd fix it, straighten the axles out for us. And he had his name was Ernest Urry. He actually run some cup races.
Ernest.
Long time.
What was the last name?
Ernest Urry.
Uri.
How do you
Yeah.
spell that?
Eury.
Okay, like Tony Uri
Yep.
and his grandfather.
Yep, I think
Or
Chief
dad.
and Chief Urry, I think all of them
Okay.
were in part.
Or the Uri
I think
family.
every Urry had something to do with a race car,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere or another. But so I started just going with him. I was 13 years old, and he run late model, but he's running in the back, and I went with him, and I enjoyed it. And then he got a little older, and I started helping some bigger teams. I actually started helping Tim Gordon, which he's passed now, but he ran late models for years. Dale Earnhardt drove for him.
Gordon.
Yeah, Tim.
Okay.
Tim.
Yeah, I wonder if he's any kin to Cecil Gordon.
I don't know. I've met Cecil several times, but I don't know if he is. His son's Chris Gordon. He ran some late model stuff, and but him and his brother Bobby, Tim and Bobby, but they both ran late models. His dad was Mr. Henry Gordon. He owned Metro Fairgrounds, so he had the racetrack there. So when I got started helping Tim, I also helped grade the track. I didn't do the grading, but I drove the water trucks and stuff like that. So it was just, 16-year-old kid having a ball. So all that went through a few years, and then I started helping a guy named Kerry Tigg, which is passed also. He ran late models. He actually ran some cup races, but
I was thinking that name sounds very familiar.
yeah, he did some stuff with Gunk.
Yeah, Soldier Steel.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And we did a lot of late model racing, raced those. Remember the sportsman cars they ran in Charlotte?
I do, yes.
The Novas, the Venturas, and all that.
Yep.
We won the race at Charlotte, passed Todd Bodine on the last lap.
Okay.
Or we
Yeah.
beat Doors in the last lap.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it was, I started helping him, and that's kind of opened my door to the cup level. Started meeting people. I want to say it was 1989 or 90. I met a guy that worked at Sapco in the motor room. Barrett Cook was
Barrett
actually,
Cook.
Yep.
I know you're talking about.
Yep, good guy. And he introduced me to John Wilson, well, I'm sure
He was the head engine builder then, John Wilson.
Yeah. And so I got a job in the engine shop at Sapco, tearing down the engines, cleaning parts. Just I wanted to do anything I could anyway.
Get your foot in the door.
Right, right. And it was awesome. It was like a kid. One day working on late models. All of a sudden now you're working and helping the engine shop with Kyle Petty.
Yeah, in the Cup Series with Kyle there. That was off of Oil Road, I assume, in Charlotte. Yeah.
Yep.
That's where I ended up working. But, yeah, and we were talking about the Sportsman Series. That was where when Russell Phillips passed away at Charlotte in the race. That's kind of when they put an end to that, I believe it was. So.
Yeah, I think we won the race probably 3 or 4 years before that, because Concord Speedway had a race that was called the Road to Charlotte. And I think Ernie Irvin won it that year. But we had a Charlotte car, and we all was racing there. I mean, it was really cool for the smaller guys.
Sure.
Just very dangerous at Charlotte.
Oh yeah, it was very dangerous.
Yeah.
That was a bad deal, and there was a lot of people that come out there to try to drive, like a lot of the dirt track or local dirt track guys and that kind of stuff, and to get their feel of it, but they never really been in a stock car on asphalt, but they were able to race. And
you start thinking about the closing rate with, even back then with the draft and those big blocky cars, they would just you'd catch the guy in front of you so quick and before you really knew what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So you worked up at Savco there on Orr Road. It's off of North Trine.
Yep.
And then right beside it was, let's see, the Cartoon Network. What was that? No,
Diamond Ridge.
Diamond Ridge.
Diamond
Wait a
Ridge.
minute. They balled out the building.
Yes, because actually I worked in the same building at Diamond Ridge.
Okay, the same. Yeah.
Diamond Ridge actually started. They had a shop right beside Stavola Brothers.
Okay, out in Harrisburg.
Yep, the little building beside them, they were actually there, and then they bought that building.
Okay. Yeah.
But from there, I ended up going to Butler built the seat place, and I worked there, worked in sales, and
out in Concord.
Yep, and then I was there probably a year or so, and that's when I ended up going to Diamond Ridge. Actually,
Okay.
we were the Meineke car at the time with Steve Grissom.
With Steve Grissom, okay. The Meineke car. They also had the Cartoon Network or something at one time, right?
Yeah, that was the next year. Cartoon Network came on board with, I think it was TNT. Ted Turner.
Was it the 29 car?
Yep.
Just trying to, stuff's going through my head right now. I always, whenever I hear a driver's name, and then I always have car numbers, sponsors, all that starts almost like a Rain Man, I guess you could say. Just,
yeah, but it's funny. That's how I remembered phone numbers back in the day. Was I put car numbers.
You did too?
Yeah,
I did the same thing. I still do it. Whenever I try to remember a number, I just associate it with visuals of a car.
Yeah.
And I could remember it forever. Then think about 11 and 87, whatever. I just do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, that's how I always remember stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I went to work at Diamond Ridge. I was in the parts department, and we had with Steve Grissom, and everything. Buddy Barrett was there when I first got there, and then he left. But then the next year, we kind of ventured out, and we had Jeff Green and Elliott Sadler.
Okay.
Which was running. We were then the Busch Series, and so I moved over to that shop, which was right behind the racetrack.
Okay.
Still with Diamond Ridge.
Yeah.
And we still held Steve Grissom in the Cup car and these two guys in the Busch car.
Maybe I should be showing the pictures as you're talking about those, but I guess we'll get to those. We'll get to the slideshow here in a little bit, and we'll talk about that because we're going to, around 7:30, we're going to have a call in from David Johnson. He's going to talk about the race this past weekend. Let's see, that was at Martinsville, I believe.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about that. So we'll get into that.
The, but the Diamond Ridge was probably one of the best places I ever worked. It was Gary Bechtel owned the company. A lot of good people came through there.
Didn't he have something to do with the Bayhackle Communications or something? It was something with television.
I don't know about that. His family was the Bechtel Corporation. And the way I understood, his family built the Hoover Dam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that floating airport in Japan, they built that. I mean,
Yeah. Kind of a big deal when it comes to building stuff.
Yeah.
Big projects.
But, but I was there, and then I started going over the wall. Oh, actually, I guess I need to back up a little bit. In between, after I left Sapco, I actually was a tire changer. I worked for Kel Yarper Motorsports.
Okay.
I was just like a weekend guy.
Yeah, when was that? When what car was he driving then?
Well, Kel, it was his team, and the driver was Lake Speed.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Where was that shop?
Down behind the airport.
Oh,
in
Dixie
Charlotte.
Road.
Yep.
Dixie River Road.
Back here where, what was that?
Holman and Moody was down there.
Holman and Moody. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, man. And then Whitcomb Racing was down there at one point, and Dogard and all that. A lot of legendary shops were down that way.
Yeah, it really was. That's kind of where they started building at first. I used
to ride my bicycle by there when I was a kid. All them shops. I lived right down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
sure
cool.
did. Yeah, grew up in that area.
Yeah. But Tony Lambert, I don't know if you knew him.
I did. He was our front tire changer when I first started as a jackman.
Oh yeah, Tony. He was a tire changer there. That's how I got there.
I didn't realize that until I started seeing pictures of him hanging at my work now. Because now that I'm at Robert Yates Racing Engines, there's pictures lined up, all of Robert's wins. Because that was his big shop there, Robert Yates. And there's he won 58 races. So, and he had 100 and something poles. Yeah. So we have a lot of pictures running all the way around through the shop. And I seen Tony Lambert in a lot of them. I'm like, I never even knew he worked for them whenever he come and change tires for us.
I wish I hadn't seen Tony in years. I'd love to see him.
He's doing something with boats down at Lake Norman, down in Denver.
Oh, really?
He's got a shop down there. I don't know if it's his deal or what, but it's something to do with boats. And I've been meaning to stop in and see him.
No, I would love to see him. I tried to find him on Facebook and I haven't.
Yeah, he's incognito. Yes, for sure.
But I did that. That was exciting. Just being there and these cars coming down pit road. I was a young kid and there was no pit road speed. None of that stuff. But you didn't know any better back then.
Yeah, I know. Ain't it amazing how when we were younger we weren't as careful as we are when we get older? Back then it was like, oh heck with it, these cars are flying by, whatever. It ain't gonna hit us. We're not scared. And Now it'd be like, I better watch out.
That's all that testosterone.
I'm older, and
That's all it
I guess
was.
that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
As you get older, it depletes.
Yes.
And we get smarter.
We get
That's right.
smarter.
Testosterone leaves, and
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, how
That is
those men
so
are.
right.
Yeah, become more tender with our age.
I don't know
Some of
about
us.
that, but
All right, thanks. Yeah. So anyway, I get what you're saying. That's good. And
Hey,
so then,
dog.
yeah, hey dog. Woof, woof, woof. Okay. So when you, so you were doing your pit crew stuff. At how old were you when you started doing pit crew?
I'm going to say 24, 25.
Okay.
I mean, I did some stuff in the late model days, but that was,
Yeah.
you go out there and you're going to change a tire, you're just in panic mode. So,
Yeah.
but I actually started learning that, I was okay tire changer, nothing over the top. But when I was at Diamond Ridge, I ended up being a tire carrier.
Okay.
Yep, and for Jeff Green.
All right. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe I should just pick some of these pictures up there. And so if you're listening on the radio and you'd like to see us, you'd like to see the pictures I'm talking about, go to DHammiam on YouTube and you can see them right there. So
you can also ask questions with a big Q in front of it.
there you go, Tracy. Good job there. And all right, so here's one of your pictures. This is later on, though, it looks like. So let me get back to the picture page. Picture pages. Okay. That's later on, too. There's later on. I started in the front and went to the back too quick. Well, there's one.
Well, that's when I was at Eel River.
Okay.
And then Dennis Terry, there was a tire changer. And we was at Indy. And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's amazing place. You stand there. I was there with, we was there with Barry Dotson was the crew chief. Mike Bliss was the driver. But I never forget, we were sitting there and they just doing the national anthem.
Yeah.
And Barry Dotson was beside me. We were standing in line and he goes, and looking, it's just a sea of people down both sides. And he said, if this does not give you cold chills, you're in the wrong business.
Oh, I know, man. Indy was amazing with how many people there were up in the stands with the two levels of stands like that.
Yeah.
And then behind us.
Oh yeah, they were
road.
right behind you, and of course at Eel River we always seemed like we was in the back of the pit row anyway all the time, and the fence was so close to you didn't have room, but they were right there.
Yeah.
Remember your first race
My first race,
on pit wall?
yes, was the Daytona 500 with Kyle Petty. I cleaned the
Awesome.
windshield.
Ah,
Yep,
Okay.
that was I never forget because I'm standing there and I'm thinking I'm going to clean the windshield. Which was amazing, and you got 43 cars coming down pit road. There was no pit road speed,
right.
but it was amazing. I'll never forget that day.
That's something we have in common because my first pit stop where I jumped off the wall, like in 95, I did the pit sign and pit cleanup and all that stuff, glue and lug nuts and whatever. But in 96 is when I actually jumped off the wall during the pit stops. And my very first one was Kyle Petty. And I remember that I popped that image in my head when I saw him come down pit road. I'm like, I'm taking a mental picture of this, so I'm going to remember it from now on.
Oh yeah,
So-
when you see those cars coming down, I mean, it really hits you. I mean,
Surreal.
it really is. But after you jump the wall, I couldn't hear nothing. I didn't.
Right.
You
Focus.
you block everything out. But,
Zone in.
yeah, but
Yeah, you really do.
You zone in.
yeah, it's only in, but like you said, when they're coming down pit road, it's an amazing feeling.
Surreal. And then after the first stop, it's like, okay, the next ones you're just like pumped up, ready to go and do them if it goes good. And now
Right.
if the first stop, if you mess up a little bit, whatever,
Stressful.
then it's like, okay, I got to redeem myself the next stop, and then we'll go back. And then after that stop, it's like, okay, now I can chill, but I'm ready to go, But after you got to get that first one behind you, it seemed.
Yeah, but it was kind of like that really every race.
Yeah, it was.
If you was going off the wall, I mean, the first stop is always like,
Yep.
you're breathing hard, nerves are going. You want to do good for you guys, so
Yeah. That's it. It's always that first stop of the race.
It's trying to get that win.
Every week. And when you get too comfortable, that's when you will start messing up. You start
Yeah.
thinking, oh, I got this. I don't even have to concentrate. You're
Yeah.
wrong.
wrong. That's when they'll teach you who
Yes.
that car can teach you who the boss is.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Exactly.
got that right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We got Brad Barrett in with us, so y'all stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
As the best traditional hardware store that Statesville has, Fort Dobbs Hardware provides a convenient location.
Two 4968. Piedmont Healthcare. This is what community looks like.
All right, and we are back to Racing Roots with Hamm right here on 550 AM 92.9 FM WAME radio. And we got Brad Barrett in with us this evening. And so Brad Barrett is a long time. We're talking about your career in NASCAR. I mean, you worked in some other, did you go to other late model racing and stuff too outside of NASCAR? You did dirt tracks when you were a kid, that's right.
Yeah, when I was young, and I did a lot of late model stuff there at Concord. Dave Mater the third actually drove.
She's looking at me like stupid. We done went through all that anyway. Yeah, Dave Mater.
Yeah,
okay.
we.
Is any kind of toe?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I was looking at you because that's not what I told you we were doing when we came back from commercial.
Oh well, thank you for that's even better.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna say all right. Back to Dave Mater.
Yes, we're going to listen to that since you changed the
and then we're going
pads
to
on
get to what Tracy wants to do. Yes, to Tracy's job.
Well, Dave, I helped out on the terminal trucking car, which also sponsored Rich Bickle back in the day, and the guy that kept the car was a guy named, his actual name was Junior Johnson, but it was a different Junior Johnson.
Oh man, what a cool name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I helped them out at night and stuff, and Dave Mater III drove the car. Wesley Mills, I don't know if you knew him. He used to be a body hanger. He drove the car.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he drove the car for a long time, but it was that was fun. We always did the All American 400 and all that stuff.
What are you doing?
The camera's blurry.
Oh, put your glasses on. No, I'm kidding.
I did have my glasses on.
Okay, all right. You got it fixed there.
Yeah.
It was doing that before the show started. I noticed it was getting a little bit blurry. So if the camera was blurry, we just had to do a little, what do you call it?
You just got a close up of my hand there. You gotta reset it a little bit. You gotta kind of.
I usually do this: stick my hand in front of it and then pull away.
Yeah, let it refocus.
Hey, so David Johnson's going to call in here in a minute. I'm gonna let you take over and talk to him in about 5 minutes or so. Yes,
that'd be good.
Y'all can talk about the race.
Yeah.
And
Would you want me to do my job real quick?
But yeah, Tracy, go for it.
All right. Just wanted to say hey to the folks that are tuned in on YouTube. We've got Brian Cynical, the infamous Dickie Dennis, Greg Gould, and Stoney Ballard. And that's about it. Stoney says, love you guys. Brian Cynical says, Young B always has the coolest hats, digging it.
Thank you.
Brian Cynical says, that dude's beard is epic.
There you go.
Thank you.
Cool.
That's cool. And Stoney Sherman Ballard, there, it's on YouTube, sorry. Sherman, but his name is Tony. He says, love you guys, awesome show. Do you know Stoney Ballard? Remember him? He was his dad was Walter Ballard, so he was with Clint and Danny and Lisa. You know, the Six Pack movie about their family, and he was the one that held his hands up on Superman on the car whenever they won. Whenever Davey Allison won in 1987 at Talladega, his first race.
Yes. I remember that.
So he was with that crew, you know. So yeah, he's been around a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's teaching down in Florida.
That's cool.
Yeah, teaching a group of kids, Stoney's kids.
Stoney's kids.
Yeah,
Is
Stoney's young adults.
Is he teaching them like the six-pack guys?
Well, he's teaching them automotive. I mean, the guy actually is very smart. Well, in automotive stuff, go figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing that. So 6-pack style.
I think he's actually the one that told you what was wrong with my tire.
Huh? Oh, well, yeah, he did say something about that. It could be cracked.
Yep.
He did mention that, and sure enough, it was cracked. So who would have thought?
My tire kept going low pressure.
Wow.
Low pressure. Would fill it up. Day later, low pressure.
It was new tires.
New tire.
Really?
So it ended up having a crack inside it. So, yeah. And then,
Thanks, Tony.
and then the fence climber there, we tell them about Dickie.
Oh yeah, Dickie Dennis is the infamous Richmond fence climber.
I heard that on the show you had with Ronnie Hoover.
Oh yes.
Yeah, y'all were talking about that. Yeah, I remember that. I'm sure
he's a great guy too. He's awesome.
I figured he got in a little trouble that day.
Oh, little is underestimation there.
I think they were trying to make an example out of him, but you know, now they owe him some royalties because they bring him up every time Richmond race comes back around. They show him on TV and talk about how a dedicated hardcore fan.
I don't know that they owe him royalties, but they do need to just let him back in the field.
That's what
they need to let him back.
We're going to start a hashtag. I've already started it.
Have you?
I just haven't posted it yet. It's
start a petition.
It's
free Dickie.
Hashtag bring free Dickie. Hashtag. Wait a minute. We got to be careful with these because they could mean different things.
I thought y'all said y'all didn't have a beeper button.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? By the way, real quick, I want to say. So yesterday, me and Dad went to North Wilkesboro. Right, went to the track, and we were standing there just looking at everything. Dad walked down to the track, and I said, "Hey, don't climb the fence. They're not done with it. They're putting the fence up." That's what they were doing when we were there. So I thought about you, Dickie. When they were putting up the fence, they were bolting it in place. So I think it's climbable, but maybe you'll have to come up and test that out. I don't know.
You know, it would be awesome if they put the lower section, and he just went and held up against it like that right there. You know, with his hands on it.
They need a monument.
Yeah, they need to bring him back to Richmond. Maybe do a before and after picture.
Yes.
Let him have his phone this time.
We met up with him in Martinsville, and he was down there, and he acted like he was going to go climb the fence, and I had my video camera rolling, so it was perfect. All right, so we're going to talk about the race this past weekend, and Bryson's going to talk to David Johnson here. Hey, David. Can you hear me? Might have hung up.
He said, "Forget y'all."
Well, you know, it's got to hang on a little bit.
Yeah, ring us back.
Yeah. All right.
Did you watch the race yesterday, David?
Did I watch it? No.
Yeah.
I missed it.
We were busy.
Did you watch it?
I did. I bet.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. There's David.
Hey, David. Go for it. Tell us about the race yesterday.
Y'all okay?
Yeah, we're doing good. About you?
Pretty good. Well, what happened was my phone, these phones are so weird about dialing. I had, called and made a request a little bit earlier, and it just dialed y'all's number. But y'all do a fine job. Oh, this is Stephen up here in High Point. Hope y'all are okay, man.
Oh, okay. Hey, Stephen. Sorry, I was thinking this was our caller to call in and talk about the race. But
I'm sure. I'm a big race fan my own self, man. I was happy to see Kyle Larson get that, buddy.
Yeah. Well, you're a Hamm too, right?
I love racing.
Yeah. Aren't you Stephen Hamm?
No, I'm not him, but like I said, I dialed your number about this, accident. But you do a good job, though.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I was thinking you might be Stephen Hamm. He calls up here a lot of times too. So, and me being a Hamm, but it's okay.
I started to hear what happened to Rick Hendrick about that big fine he got. I hope it makes that cash back too, man. I mean, over $500,000.
Hope it don't break him, right? He can. I don't know. He might have to go take out a loan or something, or sell a car or two.
Yeah. Well, he's got that HendrickCars.com, and maybe he can make him a lot of cash, buddy.
Yeah, I believe so.
But I love it though. I mean, I'm kept up with it for years, man. I love racing.
Well, heck yeah, call us back sometime and give us your opinion on the race.
Well, I thought it was a good one.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for calling, Stephen.
Have a good, buddy.
You too, man. Thanks. Bye bye.
See y'all. Bye bye.
All right. Well, that was unexpected, but it was kind of nice. Yeah. So I guess if anybody knows the number, they just call up. They're used to calling up for the all request hour and that type of thing in the afternoon. So, but yeah, David Johnson, you can go ahead and call now if you want to, and we'll talk about the race a little bit. So did you watch the race?
I did. It was a good race. It was, with the new cars, it's, there's not a lot of passing.
Yeah.
If you get out front, you're pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were saying, if you want to talk about it, you were talking about how Denny was making some comments about that.
Yeah, I listened to his podcast today, and he was just talking about, he's begging NASCAR for some horsepower. Mm-hmm. He says, with these tires, they do have a little fall off, but not enough to have goers and comers because you're just not wearing the tires out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and you look at the last year's races at Martinsville were the same way, and they took the lowered the downforce or took away some downforce off the cars for the short track package to try to make them a little more racier, but it didn't. They're still shifting at Martinsville, which kind of creates an issue. So, I haven't listened to that yet. I love Denny's podcast.
I do too.
I'm personally, Denny's not necessarily my favorite driver, but I do like that he's outspoken, and I like that he can use that platform. Now, I hate that maybe, with the situation that happened with him getting penalized and all that, that kind of takes away maybe some of the things that we could hear from him. But I do like his platform and kind of getting the driver's perspective. And, definitely he's not the only one wanting more horsepower. So I think that's got to happen.
Well, like he said today, and it makes so much sense. He was talking about, the downforce. He said, there's three things you got to do. And he says, you got to take downforce away. Mm-hmm. You got to make them where they don't shift. Mm-hmm. And you got to give them horsepower. Mm-hmm. And he said the thing about it is you can't tippy-toe to it. Mm-hmm. You got to do it. You've either got – it's just like he said today, they spend the same amount of money for engines, that they did when they had 950 horsepower versus 550 horsepower.
Yeah,
right.
So
yeah, it's not much to change there.
So
hey, David, you got you on the line this time?
Hey, yes, sir. Hey, buddy. Sorry about that. My phone went all sorts of haywire.
Oh, that's all good. We got you now.
Yes,
that's all that matters.
Yes, sir. Well, we had pretty good. We had several good races there at Martinsville this past weekend.
Yeah.
And we witnessed first on Friday night with the truck series. They ran about the entire race on the rain tires, which is the first time they've done that on the oval for like a NASCAR Top 3 division. So they've done it on road courses several times, but not on the oval. So there's a few details that need to be worked out with that whole situation, but I figure giving her once or twice tries, I think you'll have something pretty exciting with all that.
Yeah, do you think that's a good thing? I think it's pretty cool that they can take the rain tires and run around an oval maybe, but the truck race, with the rain coming in towards the end of the race, it was kind of unfortunate because I think they only ran about half of the race under green flag. The rest of it was under yellow. So really, I think somebody had timed it out on only about 20 minutes of the whole race was under green flag. So there was a lot of fans complaining about that, and you wonder maybe should they have rescheduled the race to Saturday and then ran it in the dry weather. But it is cool that they can do the wet tires. But what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think so. If you go back over the course of time, like Watkins Glen last year when they started the race on the rain tires, if you notice, you don't run in the typical groove you would run in. You want with the rain tire, it's a soft compound for grip in the rain. It's kind of like a snow tire. It's really soft compound for grip. So, with that being said, you have to keep moisture on that tire to keep it cool, because if not, it's going to blister and just come apart on you. Mm-hmm. So, like if you see, you can get, once it quits raining and starts to dry it up, you'll get some really, really quick times if you leave the rain tires on for maybe a lap or two. But beyond that point, with the heat that builds up from the asphalt, you need to be looking for some slick tires,
Yeah, so you think
so you're going. It would basically, in my opinion, it would be really good for Martinsville or Loudon or somewhere, because it would widen the groove out. Because you wouldn't want to run just on the bottom. You would run wherever there's moisture at.
Yeah, it does make it more interesting, and it almost makes you. It relates to dirt track racing a little bit, where you saw them in the Bristol dirt race. They started out sort of, guys were running all over the place, but as the night went on, they sort of transitioned to the top of the racetrack where the moisture was. So there's a little bit of relation with that too.
Well, you think about it, if you look back at the Roval, was it last year or the year before they raced in the rain?
Yeah, I think it was year before last, maybe.
Yeah, and they were all searching for water before they could put the slicks on. Everybody was keeping the tires cool.
Yep. So
Yeah,
it's
man, like
definitely
I said,
interesting.
I mean, it expands. So Martinsville at the very most is 2 groove, typically single file racing hooked around the bottom. You know, I mean, for a couple of laps you can hold steady on the outside, but at some point in time that low groove's going to wear you down. You know, so if you can anything to widen the groove out any track, I mean, it's better racing. You know, so in my opinion, I mean, you may have a way better race on wet Martinsville than you do at dry Martinsville.
Yeah, I can see your point. What'd you think about Saturday? How'd you like the Xfinity race?
Oh yeah, well. So Saturday it was a lot more single file, and I worked at Goodyear for a long time on the racing division side, and in my opinion, they went with a harder tire, a harder compound, which is typically a harder tread area, which there's no tread, but and a stiffer sidewall, and that keeps you have so much brake heat, and with the wheel, you know, with it being aluminum, it dissipates heat better than a steel wheel does, but it still gets hot, you know, like, so the Xfinity cars, you'll know a bead in a hurry. So basically what you do to ensure that tires don't last is you stiffen it up, which there's not as much tire fall off. And without tire fall off, if you can get good track position, you can ride, you know. So I feel like they need to go back to a softer compound to ensure the racing's better, because like we saw, once the leader got going and you saw it on restart, it would be really competitive for several laps and then just kind of get single file, you know?
Yeah. How do you compare that to Sunday's race? You think the product, because it was kind of similar with you know, if you got out front, you kind of stayed out front, but how do you compare the 2 races there?
I would say there was a lot more passing in the Cup race, because you saw Chase Elliott drive up to the top 10, you know, following that last pit stop. You saw Truex, you know, go up through there. You saw the 41 car, previously had that pit road spin penalty, was able to get up through there. I mean, if Truex would have had another 25 laps or so, I could see him running down that 5 car yesterday. So I feel like with that situation there, it was a lot more maneuverability, you know. So like I said, but the aluminum wheel compared to the steel wheel, the trucks and Xfinity still run that steel wheel, and with the aluminum wheel, steel doesn't dissipate heat as good as aluminum does. So I think that had a lot to do with it, with being able to dissipate the heat from the braking system. Because, I mean, your brakes will get up towards 1,100, 1,200 degrees there at Martinsville. So, and back in the day, you used to have brake failure all the time there. I mean, you basically would boil a fluid and it catch on fire, basically. It would melt the hoses and all that stuff. So there's been a lot of technology over the years that has helped Martinsville last as far as brakes. It's kind of like transmissions on a road course. I mean, the technology has ensured where you can keep it going for the whole race, you know?
Yeah, so you're basically saying you think the aluminum wheels are the problem?
Yeah, well, I think the aluminum wheels, as far as Sunday, I think helped the situation. But as far as, because you can run a softer compound because you can dissipate the heat better. With a steel wheel, you have to run a stiffer compound, stiffer sidewall to make it last, because the steel won't dissipate heat.
Well, they said
also.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said they said today also. I was listening. The new wheel flows so much air that they were cooling off a lot more under caution. So when they went back to racing, they had more. The tire would last longer because it was cooling off way more than the steel wheels did.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is stuff I haven't even thought about.
Sorry. You slide the right front tire. If you lock the front tire up, that on your older car, that would kill you for several laps. But now it's a little bit more forgiving, you know.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely an issue. I think the short track package, which we go to Talladega next week, so the short track stuff is definitely needs to change a little bit. But that's definitely something to look at, and hopefully, I'm not exactly sure what the next short track race is that this package will be used. I have a feeling that the drivers, there's the drivers' council now that they have. I have a feeling that it's going to be they'll talk to NASCAR, maybe a newer package. Maybe there'll be some modifications. I have a feeling to that package. Maybe there'll be some tire tests as well. So it'll be interesting. We'll see.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, basically, you have like the low downforce, high drag stuff. So that's kind of like you would say Richmond, Martinsville, Loudon, Phoenix, stuff of that nature. Then you have your super speedway stuff, and then you kind of have your intermediate stuff. So, I mean, you basically have 3 different rules package for the different types of track.
All right. Very good, David. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, and I hope you all have an awesome week coming up, and we'll look forward to talking to y'all here soon.
Sounds good, buddy. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you, buddy.
All right, there you go, Dave Johnson. Thank you for that. And so we're back to Brad Barrett. We were talking a little bit earlier about the race and this past weekend and all. Mm-hmm. A lot of times on the show we don't even talk about the race, but I don't know. I think it just kind of to our listeners that are race fans, I guess it does make sense to talk about the race.
We actually did get a couple comments while he was talking. One of them says, "Great point. What is the difference in the weight between the 2 wheels from when Brad and myself carried tires?" Another question says, "Talk about burning them down. John N. was on fire after the Busch race."
Yeah, I was going to ask him who did the better burnout because Larson was able to do a whole lap. And then you got John Hunter Nemechek that he literally, It looked like Back to the Future. I thought whenever he went up to the wall, the rubber was just falling off his tires, and it was the tire tracks were
You don't think
burning.
he planned that, do you, since they were sponsored by a fire retardant company?
It worked out well. It was quite the coincidence for sure.
How about that? Yeah, he literally burned one down kind of thing. Yeah.
Don't see that every day.
Mm-hmm.
Literally or literally?
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm from Kannapolis. I don't know the difference.
I don't either. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's right. It used to be in the cars. We can talk about that a little bit. They had, and I'm assuming they still have this, but we would have a fire bottle in the car beside the driver, and then they would have some lines run different locations. But I don't know if that would be something worth doing, running lines to the outside. The cars have been catching on fire with the tire rubber.
Yeah.
Run some lines.
I don't think they've had an issue with that much this year.
Okay.
I think what started it, I think they said the mud flaps.
Oh.
Those little rain flaps they had back there, they think that's what kind of started it this time, I think.
Yeah, it was catching.
Well, it's all wherever the rubber picks up, and if that makes contact with the heat source, then that's going to go up in flames.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think when everybody kind of picked up on that was when it happened to Kevin Harvick at Darlington last year. And he was very outspoken about it, and they actually changed that panel inside the car, which was I'm not sure the material that it was, but I think it's like a solid metal panel now where it prevents the fire from coming inside the cab, inside the cockpit where the driver's at, versus where before the Kevin Harvick's incident it didn't, but it was the rubber getting collected up in there and just the heat getting to the rubber.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. So did you work with, we were talking about you working down at, when did you work at Hendrick's?
Hendrick's, that was, I have to think, it was the end of, right after Ricky Craven left, Wally Dallenbach was driving, and the next year was the last year of the Budweiser. Mm-hmm. And then Michael Holligan Holmes actually came in. The driver just went out of my mind. He wrecked at Richmond and hurt his had a back concussion.
I was thinking about concussion drivers. We'll think about it as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you ever end up? We're talking about Robert Surt, Julio. Did you worked with him? I guess in a way, or worked in the same company.
Yeah, we was in he was in the chassis and fab shop right beside ours, so I worked closely with them. Cool story. I actually jacked Ricky Hendrick's first Busch race.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for
That's
Ricky.
Cool. Yeah. Where was that at?
Myrtle Beach.
Oh, at Myrtle Beach. Okay, I was thinking that I would have possibly been there. Mm-hmm. I remember standing around talking to Ricky and Jimmy Johnson was there at this one. And did you know Matt Ashbrenner?
Yes.
Because he changed tires for Ricky.
Yep. It was me and a couple of guys from the 24 car. It was just we threw something together.
Okay.
For Ricky's race there. Well, it was
That's cool. Yeah.
And Jeff Gordon actually, he was the team owner.
Okay.
And he was there. It was a good time.
Yeah. I was wondering if so I was there at one point with Blaze Alexander for one of the races. I don't know if that was Ricky's first though, but that might have been. This would have been around 2000, I believe it was.
Yeah, this was 99, 2000, somewhere right in there. Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? And then they closed Myrtle Beach, so we don't have that track there anymore. What's up, Tracy?
I think somebody said Nadu.
Jerry Nadu, exactly.
Very good. Thank y'all for that. Who said
that? T Chaps.
Okay.
88. Let's see. There was a question. What does Brad think about the one lug nut?
I don't know. I think it's different. I think it's cool. I think it's fast. I'll be honest. This whole new car thing, it's a real race car. We've never had a real race car. I went up to RCR Museum. A while back, I took a friend of mine, big Earnhardt fan. So I went up there and we was talking. I started showing him these panels in the car and the chassis. It's a 64 Ford car. That's what the floor pans were made out of.
Oh, yeah.
And the truck arms came out of the rear truck arms, they were really out of a truck. And these cars that we always raced, that we always worked on, they were race cars, but what they have today is a real race car. Everything's there. There's nothing. It's all for racing.
Yeah, some of the stuff we used to use for racing, race car stuff was fabricated in the shop, a lot of it, and some of the stuff was definitely not, I don't know. It was different.
It's questionable.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, but I like the new car. I think it's a really cool thing.
Independent rear suspension, that type of stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Well, you think about it, they no matter what, you're always going to have the Hendricks and the Richard Childers and the Joe Gibbs up top. No matter what, I don't care what you give everybody. But if you look at the racing now, you usually have most of the field on the lead lap. But I heard a story on the way in today. In 1973, I think it was Benny Parsons won the championship. You know how many times he finished on the lead lap that year? Once. The only race he won. And he runs second. He ran a lot of top fives, but most of them he was 2 or 3 laps down running second.
Yeah.
So
how about that? I believe that was Wardell Wilson was building engines for him at that point. I think over at the anyway. Yeah. Like I said, here goes that Rain Man thing again.
Yeah.
Another question came through. Is Brad any kin to Stanton Barrett?
No, I've been asked that a lot. Stanton and Stan, his dad. But yeah, they're California guys. I'm a local Kannapolis guy.
There you go.
Yep, they did a lot of the stunts for. Was it Smokey and the Bandit? Yep,
Stan did all the Smokey and Bandit stuff, and then Stanton when he came and raced, he did a lot of racing. He's a nice guy. I met him a few times.
Yeah, Stanton was my very first racing NASCAR experience where I actually went to a NASCAR track and helped out. We didn't have to do a pit stop, but I nut and bolted the car and done all this stuff with Stanton Barrett's Wendy's sponsored.
Oh yeah, I
think it was around 1990, somewhere in that, over at Concord.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So then we all went to Waffle House afterwards. So
the Awful House.
Awful Waffle, which is really good actually.
Yeah, exactly. I will stop at a Waffle House in a minute.
Heck yes. So did you ever have to sleep at the race shop like our buddy Julio did?
There's been many late nights.
He did it from partying.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
statute of limitations.
Yeah, those don't count anymore.
That's right.
There was a few really late nights. I don't think I ever slept at the shop. Usually I just wanted to go home.
Yes.
But
did they ever send you out for a long wait or a nose template? Or
no, actually we sent a guy out one time. This is when I was at Renzi, the Marines car, in the Busch Series, and we had a guy that volunteered, and we sent him, and of course, we're going to call the next team and say, hey.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to, I can't remember what, it was another Busch car. It was, and he came back, he took the forklift up there, and he actually come back down the road, down over about where your shop is now, and he's got this huge crate on there, and it said long wait on the front, and it was all strapped up. It was pretty good.
Sent him after a long wait, yes. That's a good one. The other one was a nose weight. And Julio had told us this story. They sent him out to get a nose weight, and when somebody got back, they had cut a template out of the shape of his nose. The guy that went out. So here's your nose weight.
Yeah.
Kind of like blinker fluid, huh?
Yeah, exactly like that. Yes. And what about, he had told us about this guy that had bought I guess it was a 5-inch air grinder off of the tool truck, and then he come in the shop and hooked it up. And I guess when he went to lunch, this other guy, somebody had given him a thing of syrup, so he took and dumped the syrup into the air gun. So it sat there, and then when he went to use it, it just basically locked up. It probably smelled a lot like maple syrup too.
Well, since we're telling these stories, I got a friend called me today, Winky Donaldson, if you're listening.
Hey, Winky.
This is for you. He works at Joe Gibbs, him and Danny Robinson Foot.
Oh, cool.
We always, it was, at Diamond Ridge, it was always, playing jokes on each other, firecrackers.
Yeah. You could do that stuff back then.
Yeah, Too many places have HR departments now. But.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
But I never forget, I was in the restroom, and he decided he's going to set the fire extinguisher off on me.
Oh, no. In the bathroom?
Oh, that was hilarious.
Get wet.
No, it was powder.
It was a sprinkler.
Yeah, no, it was the fire extinguisher. And they stuck it under the door, and you come walking out. I just white. It looked like white flour all over.
Oh my gosh! What was the guy that worked in Robert Yates down in Dwell Street in Charlotte that he would go up to? One of my friends over at Roush Yates was telling me, he'd say, this guy was a cleanup guy, and he'd go in the bathroom and he'd look through the crack, and he'd be sitting on the toilet, and he'd say, "Hey, Eric, how that paper in there?" So he actually looked inside the stall to see him sitting there,
so he didn't know
who
who it was,
and asked him how the paper was in there. Anyway, when you said that about bathroom, that reminded me of that.
Yeah.
But all right, so then one of the other stories was about all right, so y'all had a roach coach that would come with, they call it a roach coach. I mean, that's the food truck.
Yeah.
That would come in the morning times, usually 9:30, 9 o'clock, something like that, right? And there was this certain group of stray dogs that would follow the roach coach around, and so they decided that, these dogs would come along with this roach coach. So they decided to paint on the side of the dogs, they painted the car numbers 5, 24, and 25. I didn't know if you ever saw that.
I didn't get to see those.
There's another Julio story.
Julio has a few stories.
He sure does.
Julio's probably the center of a lot of them, too.
Yeah.
Now, we weren't going to tell on him now.
Well, we're not telling. We're just admitting.
Yes. He said one night whenever he ended up sleeping in the shop, I mean, this show's about you, but I just want to see if you remember, you remember any of the stuff. But he said one night he came in from sleeping in the shop or whatever, and he goes to brush his teeth because he had his travel bag with him, and he grabs it and then puts toothpaste on, and he starts brushing his teeth, and he's like, "Man, this stuff doesn't really taste like
Please tell me.
Toothpaste, but it's kind of minty tasting though," and it ended up being gay.
Oh no, not Julio.
But he had nice feeling gums afterwards.
Yeah, so that gives massaging your gums takes it to another level.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Brian Cynical says, didn't Stanton run the 33 Skull Bandit before High, Wide, and Handsome took over the driving duties?
I believe he got in that car at some point. Stan. Yeah. The older one.
Yeah, the dad. I think so. I think that's right, because that was Burt Reynolds and
Hal Needham.
Hal Needham had something to do with that. I think so.
Yeah. And he was a stunt man, so why not?
Yeah.
And then T-Chap says, when I think of Diamond Ridge, I think of Robert Presley in the Daytona 500 when he flipped all the way over and landed right back on the wheels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was, I remember that. He was looking straight down.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, man, those cars back then in the day would go airborne
Yeah, it didn't take nothing. You get turned around on the backstretch at Daytona. And
Yeah. The one that Kel Yarborough ended up flipping and wrecking so bad. I remember him whenever he got out. He said the only thing his car didn't have a joystick to control it to go airborne.
Yeah.
Oh, he went so fast in that car too. But anyway,
he was fast. That was he had the pole on the first lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paul
Another Waddell
Rodriguez
Wilson.
asked if you ever sent me out for blinker fluid.
Oh, I tried to, but she was actually kind of smart.
Yeah.
She don't trust me on that. That too. Maybe that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm no dummy.
Yeah. And tell Paul thanks for he last week or a couple weeks ago he said tell everybody to hit the thumbs up.
Thank you, Paul.
And yeah, thanks for that reminder, Paul. And if you like the show, you like what you're hearing, hit the thumbs up. If you like.
You don't have to wait till the end to do it.
That's right.
You can
exactly.
do it now.
Yeah. Did you ever throw any water balloons over there at Hendricks?
There was always something going
Yes,
on.
right.
But when I worked there, in the team side, it was a little different. Because you had after Jeff Gordon got there, and it got a little tighter. It wasn't as much.
With Everett Hamm was the man there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much play. And with Tony Furr was awesome. One of the best people I ever worked for. It was all about racing.
Tony Furr, I listened to him on Dale Jr.'s podcast.
Yeah, I did too.
Man, there were some great stories.
Yeah. He and it's true. I mean, the things he did and the things he did there at the 25 car while I was there was pretty good.
I'm glad they're talking about some of that stuff, because it's funny. Those are great stories, the stuff about bending the rules and things, So,
I was the parts guy there, and I remember Tony saying, "You taking these parts, and they do not go out of your sight, and you go to this place, and they're going to powder coat them or whatever, and you're going to bring them back.
Yeah.
Nobody sees them. Nobody knows nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because back then a lot of times you would do things and you would figure out an advantage, and sometimes you heard it from another team, but everything was kind of like tight-lipped. And if you did find out about it, it's probably because you were, maybe your cousin worked over at Earnhardt's shop or something, and they told you a little something. And then eventually it got around to all the teams, but for a little while there, it was only one or two teams would have this technology or this new thing just to try.
Well, everything in racing's a secret until the first person quits and goes to another job.
That's true too. Yes, when they would leave and go to another job.
Yeah.
And back then, you would actually get paid a decent amount of money to where they didn't want you to leave, but then the other teams could bring up more money and get you to leave. And then it started becoming so diluted. People were moving in from all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And it just diluted the whole deal. And it's like, we could replace you tomorrow. And that's kind of the way it.
I talked to Tony Furr the other week at the Racers reunion, and I remember going to work when I interviewed with him. I sat in his office, and he said, "Well, what do you have to come to work here?" And I told him. He said, "Done." I went, "Dang,
that was too easy."
Yeah, it was too easy. I should have went higher.
Yes.
I was like, "Dang it!"
Did you ask him about that? Did you say, "Hey"?
Yeah, I told him. I said, "Yeah." I said, "I remember just sitting across from your desk, and you just said done." Right off, right quick. He said, "Well, I always wanted to pay people what they wanted."
Yeah.
So
that's pretty good. All right.
All right, take a break.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and you're listening to Racing Roots with Hamm, and we have got Brad Barrett in with us, so y'all stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Well, hey, everybody, we're in the middle of a huge housing
deals are. Remember that, $29,990. I'll start with it. I'll end with it. It is a deal today at the Ford store.
Hello, this is Jason Drum from Drum Landscape Supply. Hope to see you soon.
Real Country 550 and 92.9 WAME and W225BD Statesville.
All right, and there's that station ID at the top of the hour, and you're listening to Racing Roots with Hamm, and we got Brad Barrett in with us. Not Brad Parrott. I actually texted Brad Parrott last week and was telling him in response to your text, and then I said, "Oh, my bad, wrong Brad." Oh, that rhymed.
It's funny. We went to high school together, graduated the same year. Yeah.
Really?
That's
okay.
awesome.
Yeah, and it's always like they call one to the office and we both show up, and it's usually because of me. He didn't get in trouble a lot. I did.
How about that? Where'd you go to school?
Northwest Cabarrus.
Okay. How about that?
Yep.
Small world.
It was funny. They had remember Inside NASCAR or whatever, the TV show?
Yep.
They did a thing they called it NASCAR High, because I was there. We had 7 or 8 guys: Todd Parrott, Brad Parrott, Pee Wee. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, that's all right.
There's a few of us.
Everybody knows by their nickname.
I know everybody their nickname. I just don't know their real name.
Mm-hmm. So y'all were in high school and working in racing. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, we had all mechanic classes together, and it was funny. But then we all ended up. A lot of us ended up going that way.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about nicknames. David would talk about work, and he'd call everybody by their nickname.
Yeah.
So, of course, when I meet him, he has to tell me their nickname.
Right.
Because I don't know who they are unless I hear it by
exactly.
that. Like Crusher.
Yes.
I met Crusher, didn't even know who the heck he was till after he left. Because he came into my work.
Oh, yeah, Crusher,
Yeah.
Steve
I was
Blackwell.
like, okay, I don't know who you are, but okay.
Oh, I just thought about something. I was talking about that nose weight earlier. I believe that was Ronnie Hoover that did that one.
Imagine
So I
Ronnie
guess he
doing
was-
something like that.
Yeah, old Ronnie.
Oh, sweet Ronnie.
Yeah.
Such a good guy.
He is such a good guy. I love him.
Ronnie's great. All right, so we went through your whole. We didn't go through your whole racing career.
No,
so,
not all of it. I mean, Hendricks. That was worst mistake I ever made was leaving Hendrick Motorsports. But that's one of those high sights, 2020.
Right.
After that, I went to Eel River for a while. I was like the pit coach there and tire carrier.
I remember Eel River.
Yeah, with Mike Bliss and that one picture you got us at Indy. That was with that was with Dennis
That one
Terry.
there.
Dennis Terry, great tire changer.
Okay.
And after that, I'm trying to think.
So there's another one of y'all changing tires. That's not Indy though. That is.
Is that Pocono?
Hang on, let me zoom in a little bit. All right, so if you're listening on the radio, I know you can't see what we're talking about, but you can go to YouTube and go to DHammiam, and you can see it. You can see what we're looking at. Pictures on here. I think it's Pocono.
You don't know. Just keep going.
It's Pocono because there's the pylon and then the back straight. I mean, not the back straight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something? Just be able to look at a picture and tell you where you're at.
You can just look at stands.
It looks at all
Look at
the
the
same
stands.
to me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Seeing that tire changer there, he just passed away last year. His name went right out of my head.
All right. And I'll zoom in a little bit more so we can see a little bit closer, possibly. Oh, yeah, that was, yeah. Man, I tell you what.
That guy.
It's
him.
bad when we get old.
It's a short name. It's only a few, yeah. Yeah. Gosh, man. Yeah, it is bad when we're getting old. That's the problem, I think. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll keep thinking about that.
I'll remember it here in a little bit. But
Yeah.
that was a good place. That was with Barry Dotson. That was a good place.
Mm-hmm.
After that,
let's go more pictures. I'm going to zoom back out now.
Well, while you're zooming into pictures,
Yep.
Danny Robinson says, "You're doing good. Me, Winky, and Tommy are watching."
Tommy Tire.
Oh, hey, yo.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tommy Tire, Winky Donaldson, and Danny Robinson Foot. Some of the greatest
Foot.
people around.
Yeah, that's cool.
Tommy.
How he got his name.
I don't know. I cannot remember.
Danny, tell us how you got the nickname Foot.
But
Are they in this
a good
picture, or is that a different one?
no, that's a different one.
So those guys worked with you at Hendricks. Is that what you're
Foot
saying?
worked with me at Hendricks. Winky was at Diamond Ridge with me. Tommy Tire, I think, was at Diamond Ridge and Hendricks with me. Just great people. I mean, this is that's the biggest thing you miss in anything in racing is the people. You know.
Sure.
Me and Danny, or Foot, we and Rodney Combs Jr. and Scooter, we used to play cards every day at break, and it's amazing how much money you can lose in 15 minutes.
Oh, y'all played for money?
Oh yeah, there was no Rodney Combs Jr., Danny, Foot, of course, and Scooter was our truck driver, and we played every day. And this is no lie. I have lost $500 in 15 minutes, and I have won $500
Wow.
in 15
That's
minutes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, funny side story to that. We were looking through, or I wasn't looking through. Somebody was looking through your dad's toolbox, or maybe it was him, and there was a ring in there.
I saw the ring. I think that's his wedding ring.
And
to be honest, I think it is.
Well, he said, I don't know where. I might have been one at playing cards.
Dan said that. My brother said that.
Yeah. Oh, he said that. I thought your dad
Dan,
said that.
Dan said it. He says, "You probably won it playing cards," and Dad says, "Yeah, you're probably right."
Yeah, I remember one time I lost like a big pot in like 15 minutes, and this was back in 91, 91, whatever, or 99. I'm sorry. And you know, $500 then. It's a lot of money now, but that was a lot. They had to sit me down. They said I couldn't play until I paid it.
Danny says Zero's watching too.
Oh, Zero, how you doing, buddy? I hadn't talked to you in years. Zero's been around like Concord Speedway, and he helped Rich Bickle back in the day, and with Tim Gordon when I was back there helping Tim Gordon. And Zero's, I think he's at Haas now. He's been around forever.
Okay. I remember a Zero. That's why I was trying to think of that.
He went to Northwest also. He was another graduate from Northwest.
Oh, my gosh.
Mark Poole, I think is his real name.
Okay. Yeah.
Rich Bickle gave him the nickname Zero. He said every time I saw him, he had a Zero candy bar in his hand.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I like a Zero candy bar.
She does. That's her favorite, actually. When I go to stores, I'll try to find a Zero just to be
we're
the
trying
nice
to
husband
eliminate
that I
sugar
am.
now, so thank you for not doing it recently.
Yeah, see, I can't.
That's why I
can't do that.
No, it's too.
My knees are telling me I need to.
Yeah, my stomach tells me that, but I don't listen.
My stomach says feed me.
Yes, it does. All right, so
Shut up.
yeah, so this. All right, I'm gonna put this picture on the screen now. That 27 car Viagra car. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
That was our team picture back in the day. That was a good group of guys. I mean, that was a lot of old school guys there. Barry Dotson, his brother was there. Both his brothers.
Brad and John.
Yep.
Okay.
And they both was there. Jimmy Smith is in there. There's a lot of old school guys there. That was a great team. We never got up and going like we wanted to, or go as quick as we wanted to, but it was a lot of really smart people there.
Yeah. That's cool. I thought I had the name we were trying to find there a few minutes ago. I thought I had it, and then it went wet, right. Went away again, yes. So. Okay, so this car right here, the WCW 29.
Yep.
That would have been the car from down that's the team in Charlotte.
Yeah, that was Diamond Ridge. That was with Elliott Sadler drove that. That was a pretty cool sponsor, man, because he always had wrestlers at the racetrack. And
okay.
Wrestling and racing.
That's right. Both start with R.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I remember being at, let's see, I don't know if it was Charlotte or somewhere, and it was Disco Inferno.
I remember that guy.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if it was with that car. Because I also, whenever I jacked for Blaze Alexander, we had a wrestling car as well. But they were there with another car, and it might have been this one. So, and then there was like Booker T would come to some, and the Raven.
Yep, I remember him.
He came to New Hampshire.
Yep, we had a lot like Daytona. We had I remember Lex Luger was always there. He was always it was funny every time he was around us. He got hurt.
Oh, is that right?
Well, one time at the shop when they first signed on with us, they brought all the wrestlers to the shop, and it was one of those days. Gary Bechtel decided he was going to have a party day at he rented out Concord Speedway. He had a bunch of legend cars he rented, late model cars. I think it was Bill Ingles' late model car up there, and he was going to let them all drive it. Diamond Dallas Page was there, but the very first day, Gary Bechtel had like 7 motorcycles. He always said, "I want plenty of motorcycles." He said, "If my friends come in, I want them to be able to ride too." So we did that. So we asked them all, "Hey, can you ride?" I was like Gary's motorcycle guy because I've always been into motorcycles. And I said, "Do you know how to ride?" "Yeah, oh yeah." So Lex Luger decided he pulling out of the shop. He goes straight, never turns, runs right into the ditch in front of the shop. Of course, gets stitches across his forehead, and of course, everybody picked on him about it. But so then we were at Daytona, and we win Daytona with the Busch race, and back in the day, Daytona, you know how they had the little roofs over the pit wall, the little sheds.
You sure do.
So he decides, he's 6'5". He's going to jump, and of course his head hits the thing, and here he's getting more stitches.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
So,
and this was John Cena.
Yeah, that was John Cena. That was in
Charlotte.
Yeah, that was at Charlotte, and that's Richard Johns. He actually drove the credit car there. That was in my shirt. He was part-time. He was also an engineer at Renzi with us.
Stoney says, did the Furs still own it then?
Do what?
Did the Furs still own it then at Concord?
Yeah, the Furs owned it all the way up until, I guess, the last 10 years it was around, I guess. But Henry Fur owned it back when I was going there. Henry and his wife and Tony's brother, they're always good people.
I forgot about them owning that. Yeah, how about that? There's your Legends car.
Yeah, that was actually one of the guys when I worked at Renzi had one, and he let me drive it at one of the races.
Okay.
And it was fun.
It was on the little quarter mile or whatever.
Yeah, the one there on the front stretch.
I think it's a quarter. I'm not sure. It seems like it was something like that.
Yeah, it's small.
Small. Yeah. Well, how'd you do?
I thought I did pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
There's a reason I was a tire carrier, not a driver.
Speaking of bad, look at this thing.
That's pretty.
Yeah, that's my little 32 right there.
That's nice.
Bill Blair's watching this. He said he was going to tune in, but after they went to dinner. But yeah, he liked this.
Yeah,
he's all into 30 Fords. He has a 39 Ford.
39. Yeah, that's a 32. It's a kit car, but it's a glass car. But I've had it a couple years now.
What kind of car is it Dad's doing?
Your car?
The Spirit. He calls it Sprite.
Your car? It's a 59 Austin Healey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why do you call it a Sprite?
Sprite. That's what he called it. I'm not sure about the Sprite part, but it's got a 302 in it. I call it Tracy's car.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to learn to drive left.
You know, if you think
left-handed.
Yeah, if you think something enough times, then it might come true.
Yeah.
So Tracy asked the question.
There you go.
So Tracy asked the question: do I have to shift it with my left hand because the shifter's on the left side? And I said, well, no, you can shift it with your right. It's just gonna be a little awkward. It's gonna be like this.
Could you imagine trying to do that with?
No, I was joking. You wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You get used to it, I mean.
Yeah.
You get used. It's crazy what you get used to, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Exactly. I mean.
I'll pass.
All right. So this picture here, this is when the AC Delco 200, I believe it's the 200 race.
Yeah, that was with Elliott Sadler. We won a few races. I think that's Rockingham.
Yeah. It is.
A lot of good people there. I mean, that was with Sandy Jones was the crew chief.
I was probably there.
And that was one of the races I never forget. We was there, and it just seemed like the beginning of the race we wasn't doing that good, and probably right outside the top 10 or something. And I just remember sitting there, and you know, you get kind of zoned out sometimes in between pit stops.
Oh yeah.
And I was kind of zoned out. And
Take a nap.
I never could take a nap, but all of a sudden I looked up. We're running second, and I we went from like 15th to second, and I thought,
Did
holy
I just
cow.
blink?
Yeah, I'm like, where did this come? I mean, really, I don't remember anything from 15th to second. And then we was running second, and then we actually started leading, and then we won the race. I've been to victory lane at Rockingham several times with.
Awesome.
Well, and so that's why you had these dark sunglasses on, so you can close your eyes.
Take a nap, yeah.
David takes naps one eye at a time. He'll tell me.
Yeah, when I'm driving.
Yeah, just when you're driving.
Sherman says yes, Sprite is correct,
Yeah.
and Paul Rodriguez says bug-eyed Sprite is what the car's called.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Bug-eyed Sprite.
Bug-eyed Sprite.
Yeah, Paul, I'll have to put a video on my, I'll put it on YouTube. I might put it on TikTok as well, and you'll see the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
In pieces.
In pieces, and it's Tracy's car.
I claim it, Dad.
Yes. All right. And I was going to show this one more picture of you and your motorcycle. And, oh, man, the name just went right back through my head again whenever I was flipping through here. Oh, it's a short name. It's a very short name. The guy, all right.
Oh, it just went through my head, too.
Yeah. All right, so what was this picture? The McDonald's car out at Charlotte?
Texas.
Texas, okay.
That was, we were getting ready to qualify, and just so happens we was qualifying together, and all the teams was there together, and they took some pictures. Mm-hmm. That was us being stupid on.
Yeah. All right, and I'm going to go find the motorcycle picture, and there it is.
Yeah, that's a 1975 shovelhead that I have that I've had since 1993. It's I've had it down. Actually, if Foot's still listening, that's the one he helped me. I rebuilt the engine, and we did it in Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick's shop.
Okay.
Add a little something to it.
Yeah, don't tell nobody. But,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But that's that. You know, I deal with I like old motorcycles. I got a 1963 Panhead that I'm building now.
Yeah.
And I've had that one for a long time.
Cool.
Do your bikes go fast, or
No.
they're just for looks?
They're Harleys. They don't go fast.
Yeah, they can.
And they can some. Those don't. It's kind of like riding around looking cool.
That's right.
That's right.
It's the cool effect.
That's what it's all about, ain't it?
It is. It really is.
You'll have
All
to
that
take me
chrome.
for a ride.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know your wife asked about my ring earlier.
Yes.
I did. So he's got a ring on that kind of sort of looked like one of David's rings. And I was like, what is this? So I got up to it.
Can you see it?
For a minute, I thought
There
that
you
was
go.
the Stanley Cup on there.
Go a little bit closer.
But that's what it looked like.
Go a little bit closer. This camera does pretty good on closeness.
Can you see it?
A little
Yeah.
closer.
Tilt it towards me, sort of like tilt it this way. There you go.
There you go.
All
That's
right.
actually a motorcycle club that I'm in. It's called the Booze Fighters. It actually was established in 1946. And it's funny how things come full circle. Back in the day, like the motorcycle club, it's the same thing as, say, the Outlaws or the any of those. I mean, we're not like a 1%er club, but it's motorcycle. All these clubs back in the day started as a race team, motorcycle racing. And back in AMA, back in the day, everybody had you had your Booze Fighters, you had what was it? I can't remember all the teams, but what they did, a lot of them, they became clubs. Like the Booze Fighter did, was a race team and became clubs. AMA, back in the day, it's not like AMA is today. AMA today takes care of the racers and got the insurance for them and takes care of them. Back in the day, it was a big money thing. And when you see a motorcycle club with the three-piece patches like we have, what they call the outlaw patch, the reason they called them outlaw patches was because AMA said you could not run that patch. So we did it anyway.
Because you're an outlaw.
Of course, I guess so.
Yeah.
But it's actually a lot of historic stuff. Like if anybody wants to become most clubs say the Outlaws or
The Hells Angels.
the Hells Angels and those guys, they learn about our club because we're one of the longest clubs in America. We have chapters all over the world, in Germany and Korea. It's pretty neat. The historic thing, like I was walking through the auto fair yesterday, or actually Saturday, and I had my Booze Fighters t-shirt on. And I had people come up to me just shaking their hand.
Ah.
Yeah, people. It's one of those things. If you know, you know.
What movie did you say?
It was The Wild One with Marlon Brando. It's about the Booze Fighters, and it's about two race teams. Marlon Brando won, and this other race team come riding in. Chino was the guy that was like the leader of the other one, and he plays Wino Willie, which was who started the Booze Fighters.
Okay.
And how and it was really blown up out of proportion. It really wasn't. The riots and I'm trying to think of the name of that town. I can't think of it. But supposedly there was these big riots with the motorcycle club, but it was all made up. The newspaper made it all up. But it's
okay.
So have you ridden the Dragon's Trail?
Oh, several times. Several times, yeah.
Is that 181 or up that way?
That's in the mountains, honey.
Well, I know
North
that.
Carolina mountains.
Yeah, but 181.
I don't know. I think that's what it is.
I thought it was part of Blue Ridge.
It is, but it's not the Blue Ridge Parkway. But it's right off of it. Every year a Booze Fighter chapter up here has what they call the Dragon Run, and we run out the whole campground. And it's nothing but Booze Fighters, and we do the whole ride, and take pictures. It's pretty fun.
Pretty cool.
All right, so back to the racing. No, you're fine. I was just going to ask you these questions about your racing career, whatever. What was the last team that you worked for?
The last team was in 2010, and that was with the King 43 car. I helped drive the hauler.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the last hurrah.
And then you said, "I'm done."
Well, it just 2008 and up to 2010. It was so rough there for a while with the sponsors leaving, and
yes,
I just ended up. I got what they call a real job, and not that those are not real jobs; they are very hard jobs, but in the real world. But and I do, like where I'm at now, I do well. Do I miss racing? Yes, every day.
So if the right deal came along.
Yeah, if the right deal came along, I would love to be back in it. My son actually works at SRI. Greg Finelli over there, the owner, I knew him back in the day when he first came in racing.
Okay.
But they gave my son an opportunity, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, that's cool. SRI began, well, I don't know how they actually began. That parts store in particular was Roush Yates.
Yeah.
A parts store.
Yeah, see, he had, first of all, he bought SRI, which was like mostly did bolts and nuts and stuff for the different teams, and they started venturing out, and then they started stock car steel.
Oh, okay.
And then Greg, of course, he bought out BSR, then he bought out Hutch, or vice versa. So he bought those companies,
and he's done pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about BSR and Hutcherson Pagan and how long they've been around.
Yeah.
And
it was amazing. That's those guys were, big time in the sports. You had
the go-to.
Oh yeah,
you needed stuff at the racetrack too.
You had Dick Hutcherson and Ron Hutcherson. Both are gone now, but they would always been a big statement. Name of that town was Hollister. Thank you, Greasy. He just texted me. Yeah.
So does Defenders of the Galaxies mean something with that? Defender.
Sorry.
I can't.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
I
don't think so. The Defender.
I wondered what was going on. I thought
David,
we shut down for a minute.
Yeah.
Dang! Don't let me ask no more questions, David.
I don't think they don't remind me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody just commented Defenders of the Galaxies.
Oh yeah.
Stoney did.
But yeah, Greasy's a brother of mine in the Booze Fighters. He just sent me the Hollister thing. Awesome guy. Hollister. Yeah, and the whole deal with Hollister was they said it was riots and all this other stuff in the newspaper. And there's a famous picture of this drunk biker with a Booze Fighter vest on, and he's got beer cans all around the motorcycle. It was staged. He was the town drunk. A photographer got him to put the cut on the booze fighter and sat on it like he was drinking and stuff. But it's
Okay.
But that's just one of those famous pictures from the day.
Oh, I got an email from Winky. Winky Donaldson.
Oh, Winky.
Yeah, his name is Daryl, he says.
Yeah,
his name is Daryl. Oh, yeah. Or he said, well, this guy's name is Charles Donaldson, I guess. But
Charles is Winky, yes.
Yeah, it was Winky, and then he said his name was Daryl.
Daryl was awesome. He just passed last year. I talked to his wife, actually, probably about a month or so ago. Just checked in on her and her and her kids and all. I mean, they miss him dearly.
Mm-hmm. Was that the tire changer?
Yeah, the tire changer on the...
That's who we were talking
with the
about.
River, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. So you were, what's let's say your most favorite driver you ever worked with?
I want to say it has to be Elliott Sadler was awesome. Jeff Green was awesome. There's so many good guys out there, because you don't really get to see the backside of most of the drivers. At least the people don't, Yeah. Most of the drivers are what you see on TV is really because they can't be themselves around. Y'all know that,
right? Yes.
But I mean, there's so many good people.
Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty is awesome.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Right after the Busch Clash or whatever it was back then, right before Daytona.
Yep.
The next week, Kyle coming around the shop handing out $100 bills. I mean, back in '89, that was a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And I was just in shock that Kyle Petty would just handed me $100.
Yeah.
Do you have any good stories? Any Kyle Petty stories that you can tell?
No, I mean, I didn't travel with that team, but Kyle was always good to us. That was with Felix Sabatas, and he was always good to everybody. And the first race I ever went to and went over the walls, cleaning his windshield at Daytona. Same year we went to Rockingham and won. I got to go to Victory Lane.
Is it like 92 or something like that?
Yeah. What was it?
93.
90. It was right at the end of peak and started the Mel Yellow car. But but we would kill them at Rockingham.
Yeah. That's why whenever we went there, we were always hoping that he would bring that back, like he would win there because we know he ran so good there.
Well, Gary, the crew chief,
Gary Nelson.
Yeah, Gary Nelson was the crew chief. There were so many people that worked there that became crew chiefs and became so smart.
Or Pembertons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but Gary, he figured something out with the tires before the first one they figured out, and that's the reason we were so good so good there.
Yeah, and they end up putting him in position with NASCAR to where he could catch people cheating.
Well, they said, if you want to catch the cheaters, you get the biggest one. So.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
Exactly.
Oh yes, good
Sherman
stuff.
Stoney says, Defenders of the Galaxies with the motorcycle when they started the group, is what he said in response to Defenders of the Galaxy.
See, I'd never heard of them, so I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, we'll have to all research it, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe I'll get me a motorcycle.
There you go. You can go riding with us.
Yeah, man.
So, in case you're wondering, David.
Yes.
This is what the bug guide looks like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when it's together.
Yeah.
The one your dad has looks a little different than that.
His is a hard top. This is with the top off.
Yep.
But anywho.
It's a little small car. Tracy'd fit right in there.
It's my size. David can't get in it.
No, I can't imagine I wouldn't be able to
David's
get in
kind of tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I told him. I said, you're too tall.
Girthy.
That too.
Girthy.
All right. Well,
silly boy.
Yes. Did you have a favorite track?
Was always a super speedway guy. I loved it. I mean, I hated it and loved it all at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Bristol was always fun. I was there when it snowed.
Oh yeah.
And we'd have snowball fights with the fans. Bristol was always good.
Yeah.
I actually went on my honeymoon to Darlington Speedway.
Oh, on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Got hit by a race car that day too. So.
Wow. Okay. Such a romantic.
Yeah. So.
That's good. So, are you still married?
No, that was.
How did you have to say that?
Because he went on his honeymoon to Darlington. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. That's not why I said that.
She's like, yeah, y'all stupid. I ain't hanging out with you. Actually, that's Brandon, my son's mom.
Oh, that's cool.
Her name's Nicole.
Wait,
great mother.
Did you send me a picture of Brandon?
I think I did, but I may not have.
Let me look. So y'all just keep talking, and I'm gonna go in here and look and see. I didn't ever get it.
I don't think it went through.
Man.
But he's 21, awesome kid, very proud of him. Works at SRI. He's trying to, he's going to school, taking classes at night. And,
Well, if you want to send it to me, go ahead. I'll keep talking while we're waiting on that. Paul Rodriguez says David's head would be above the windshield. Yes. Oh, I'll tell you one thing. Her dad has this car. I should have asked him exactly what that car is. He chopped the top on it, and it's
the gray one.
Yeah, the gray one.
I heard him telling somebody else that came, and apparently it's different parts of different cars.
Yes, it is.
So it's like a.
Okay, so here's so imagine this: a long rail, looks like a drag racing car, a rail car, whatever you call it.
Looks like a ZZ Top car.
Yeah,
with little tiny windows.
Yeah, that's it. And the car looks like a ZZ Top car, but he chopped the top on it, and the window is maybe like 2
inches. Yeah, 2 to 3 inches.
Yeah, there you go.
Really?
And
oh yeah.
so yeah, and so yeah, it's like if you're driving the thing, how can you even see out of it? But it's super trick looking.
Yeah.
But he's wanting to get a carbon fiber body made of the body that he has there, because what you have to do is you have to lift it up to get in, because it don't have doors on it. We're like, how are you supposed to get in the thing?
Yeah.
But you lift the front up. If it's carbon fiber, it's light enough to lift it up, and you can slide right into the seat.
But that one's steel.
The engine back, yeah, it's steel, so there's no way. The engine back there is directly connected to the. Okay, I got your picture.
Did you?
It's directly connected to the drive shaft. There's no drive shaft. It's just directly connected to the rear end housing. So no drive shaft. It's pretty cool. Pretty trick stuff. That's the way her dad does things.
That's cool.
He does all kinds of trick things like that. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna pop these 2 pictures up here. If y'all are listening on the radio, once again, you can go to DHammiam on YouTube. And while I'm doing that, Tracy, you can go ahead and read some comments.
Oh, I'm kind of okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Just a second.
All right, Bryson, you got anything you want to mention?
Go for it. No, not exactly, but yeah, it's been cool. I enjoy hearing about the crew stuff because I work at Hickory Motor Speedway, and so I see a lot of the late model stuff, and those guys that work on those crews are it's different at that level, and I like that you talked about that earlier. It's different because you've got. There's no pit wall at Hickory. It's not really organized. When they come down pit road, it's unexpected. So those guys really have to work. So to hear you talk about that was pretty cool.
Well, I'll tell you what's cool about Hickory. We race bush cars there, and I never forget the first time I went there and we walked. You know how where you go over to the track, it's kind of go up a little hill, then you look over the track. And I walked there. I said, "You got to be kidding me! They really race bush cars here?"
Yeah.
And we went down there, and I never forget again. No pit wall. We had a lot of pit stops. Like we come in under caution. I never forget when you pitted behind your truck.
Yeah.
And I remember being 2 and 3 wide, jumping, with air hoses over the other people's cars to get to our car. And it was, that I'll never forget. And I forget who it was. We was there with Jeff Green, and somebody crashed going into one, and then they spun around and they shot through into the garage area.
Wow.
Yeah. And hit a pit box and threw the pit box into one of the haulers, and I cannot remember.
Wow. I need to do some research on that. I'll have to ask somebody. I'm sure that there's archives and a lot of stuff, and those guys at Hickory, they know a whole lot about that stuff. But that's actually pretty interesting. I don't know.
Hickory is awesome. I'll never forget. We went there with Bill Engel because he was going to drive a bush car for Gary Bechtel, and we went there to test one time, and that's the first time I ever went there. And as I walked over, I went, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!"
Yeah.
But it was one of and that's probably one of my favorite racetracks too. Myrtle Beach. We went to Victory Lane there with Elliott Sadler. That was an awesome racetrack. Nazareth. Remember Nazareth?
Oh yeah, I've been in Nazareth.
It's so sad to see all these racetracks come to I never got to make it to. I've always been to Myrtle Beach, but I've never been to Myrtle Beach Speedway, and I never got to go to a race there, and I really regret that now that they've taking the track up and everything. I really wish I could have made it down there at some point. But
Myrtle Beach was cool because it was long. It was a 3/4 mile track and had pretty big bank turns, and it was a cool track.
I already got the pictures up here of your son. Let's go ahead and pop this one over. There he goes. All right, what's your son's name again?
Brandon Barrett.
Brandon Barrett. Okay.
He's 21 years old. Very proud of him. Awesome kid. He's not a kid. He's a young man, but
yeah. What's he doing here?
That was actually Saturday. They had a drift riding thing over at the auto fair, and he was going to go out there and they would give him rides. And
okay.
I just took that picture, and that was the other day. He just had his birthday the other day. And
Happy birthday.
Yeah, he turned 21. Now I'm really nervous.
Oh, I know, right? 21 is such an age.
Yeah, but no, he's I trust him very much. He's a good kid. He took after his mom, thank goodness.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well,
I think he favors you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he favors you.
You can see it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very proud of him. He's more of a me at his age he's so far past I was at that time.
What's he want to be when he grows up more?
He's tossed around aerospace engineering.
Oh wow!
But he's not good at math. But I mean, that's things. He wants to do something in engineering. I think that's where at first it was aerospace, and now he's got a good friend of his that actually works for NASA, and all that really interests him. So
good.
Yeah. Sure, they could work him in
that's
somehow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and I always told him
it's a good place to live.
Yeah, I always told him. I said, you just do what makes you happy. Do something. Just do something that you enjoy because you're going to have to do it for a long time.
You don't want to be miserable going to work every day.
No.
Yeah, definitely. That would be my advice as well. Do something that you enjoy, because got to be happy. That's far more important. And the money will come if you're happy at what you're doing.
I just want to shout out to Sandy. She just texted me and told me I was a star. So.
Oh yeah, man, you are a star. I've got some good video of you here, close-ups and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but Steve's one of my brothers. He's the president of our chapter, and that's his wife. They're such good people. Sandy's awesome. She's like our mom. Cool. She takes care of all of us, keeps us all in line.
Yeah, well, thank you, Sandy. Good job.
Glad you're watching.
Good job taking care of them young men out there. Somebody's got to keep them straight. Keep an eye on them. Yeah. So if people want to get in touch with you or want to get involved or any of that kind of stuff, how do they do that?
Well, you can reach out to me. My email, I can tell you, it's Brad W. Barrett, BARRETT @yahoo.com. If you're ever interested in any of the Boost Fighter stuff or anything like that, I mean, reach out to me. It's it's cool stuff. It's a lot of history and.
All right, send you an email.
Yep.
That's the best way to get in touch with him.
So you're related to Barrett Jackson?
That's another one I keep getting. I wish. I really do. I really do.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool.
I was not in mine is not the famous side of the Barretts.
Oddly enough, I actually enjoy watching.
Oh, I enjoy that.
I do. A girl watching the car stuff. I do.
Barrett Jackson's the one that made all the old cars prices go sky high.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly what happened.
My cousin Noah Walker actually went down to Barrett Jackson this last time. I guess it's been a few months now, maybe, but he went down there, took his grandparents for the first time, and he was calling me every day, FaceTime me from there where they roll him across the stage, and he was having the time of his life. So that was pretty cool to see that. He's trying to talk me into going down there, so maybe someday. But it's pretty cool stuff. I enjoy watching that.
Yeah.
I was flipping between Barrett Jackson and Meacham.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the only good thing about it is I have a '66 Mustang that it brought the value up on it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So there. So we'll see. That'll be work in progress.
500 to the best offer to the
no,
first
no.
500.
I've got the title.
I might have two cars now.
Don't listen to her. Yeah, she has no clue.
Silly.
We'll talk tomorrow.
I'm being silly.
Yeah.
Well, Dad got his cheap.
Yeah, he did. Well, he's got a '57 T-Bird that he just got with the hard
he got
top.
his Mustang cheap.
Oh, the Mustang.
Yeah.
So just because your dad got one cheap don't mean he's selling his cheap.
He's not selling it. It's a replica of his very first Mustang.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came out good on that. But
yeah, he
hey,
did.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing video as I store my Mustang, and then I'm gonna be posting on my YouTube channel. How about that?
That's his retirement job.
Oh, okay.
So you're saying I should retire again?
I'm saying when you retire,
when I
that's your
retire.
job. You don't need to try to do too much at once because you already do too much now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what we do, though.
It is. We got to keep going.
We'll try. I mean,
We need to
digging.
keep you around a little bit longer. Hello.
Yeah, I'll be fine. All right. Well, gosh, thank y'all so much for tuning in on our YouTube channel and on the radio, of course. And we will see y'all next Monday. I'm going to have, let's see, our guest next Monday is Dirt Bumgardner. You know Dirt Bumgardner?
I don't think so.
He worked with me at Roush Yates Engines, and he worked for Penske for a while too. So he's an engine builder, and then he left there. He left Roush Yates, and he became a Mac tool man. So he's gonna be on the show.
I know
He
you're
actually
talking
just
about.
tuned in and said hello.
Oh, hey, Dirt. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
Dirt. Yeah. He's a good guy. Great guy.
Awesome.
So it's going to be awesome to see him out here once again, or see him first time on the show, but to see him again. Yeah. What do you think, Tracy? What do you
I
got
was
to
going to
say?
ask Brad if he's got any parting words.
I want to thank y'all for
Of
what y'all
course.
do here. I mean, this is pretty cool.
Thank you.
You know, I want to. I mean, racing's always been a big part of my life. It always will be. Being able to talk about it in the old days. I mean, that's something that never leaves you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are, what you do. If you did this in any amount of time, it instilled a lot of, I don't know how you say it.
Character, work ethic.
Character, yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah.
character, a lot of work ethics, and you know, and I expect more of myself. And I guess the only downfall is I expect that much out of the people around me.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I understand.
you
Not the
know,
norm.
but
Totally understand.
but again, I want to thank y'all and everybody that listened. I mean, this has been an honor for me.
Well, we appreciate it. We want to, record,
document.
document
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
And we think that listening to you guys' story is part of history. Because
Yeah.
one day it will be,
That is true.
you know.
Yep, certainly is. Someday we won't be around anymore, but this stuff will still be out there, and we'll know. And then Bryson can carry on.
That's right, Bryson.
That's right.
Yeah.
Got
Well,
him
that's
here.
why I'm very
Grooming
thankful
him.
to get to come and hang out here because I learned so much and I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to be here. Really, I mean, and get to hear about everything, and then because it seems like the further and further we go along, the more in the sport of racing we forget about where we've come from, and we've done a great job of recognizing that this year with the 75th anniversary and stuff, but. Just in years past, it seems like we often forget kind of the roots, and you gotta remember the racing roots, right? You gotta remember where you come from. So, I think it's very important.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
it's.
well said.
I mean, even before us, all the people before us. I mean, it's just amazing the history that NASCAR has, and along with any other kind of type of racing. It's just, if there ever was a motor, there was somebody racing. So.
Right.
Yeah, we just found out this weekend, or I didn't realize your Tracy's grandfather had won 3 races from the pole, and then he wrecked the 4th race, and then he was done.
He was done.
Yeah.
He got hurt. Apparently he hurt his brain and broke a rib and stuff.
wow.
So he said, "Yeah, I'm done."
Hey, he's batting 750. I mean, that's
you
pretty
go.
dang good right there.
That's
3 out of
right.
4. Yep.
Yeah. All right, we'll see y'all next week for Dirt Bumgardner. So y'all tune in, and we'll see you then at 7 o'clock next Monday evening.